The comment I've given him is this: it's a meritocracy. You're not here just because we want you to be here.
Yeah.
You have to earn your place. This is the pinnacle of motorsport, and what I'm asking for you is follow this general guidance, follow this development path, keep moving forward relative to Alex, and there's a place for you here with your name on it.
Oh boy, someone's getting sacked soon, I guess. Well, I've mostly talked about the veterans and the legends of the Formula One world, so why not today we look at all the rookies of the 2020-2023 season and what the future holds for them. Some already got sacked mid-season due to their not-so-good performances, while others are just clinging onto a little glimpse of hope for the next season in 2024. So, let's dive in, shall we? Now, Nick de Vries, the Dutch sensation, had all eyes on him after that stellar debut race at Monza back in 2022. He'd been Toto's right-hand man for a while and finally got his big break with AlphaTauri in 2023. But as we know, F1 isn't all glitz and glamour. His season kicked off with less than stellar finishes in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, both a P14, while his teammate, Tsunoda, snagged P11. The Australian GP was where things started getting wobbly. Last lap chaos led to a series of on-track tussles, eventually ending in a DNF after a run-in with Logan Sargeant. Baku didn't treat him much better either. He outbraked himself during qualifying and then crashed during the race, leading to another DNF. It seemed like he was having a bit of a rough time on the track, especially in his fights with Haas during the Canadian GP. But here's the kicker. AlphaTauri, which has had its fingers in the Red Bull pie, got fed up with shenanigans and gave him the boot after just 10 races. Imagine getting hired by Elon Musk and then messing up so bad on your first day that you're out in the afternoon. Ooh, it's safe to say we might not see Nick de Vries back in F1 anytime soon. Now, speaking of AlphaTauri, they've been switching drivers like it's a game of musical chairs, huh? Last season, the driver changes even gave Alpine and Otmar a run for their money. But all jokes aside, when Ricciardo got sidelined with injuries, in stepped Liam Lawson, Red Bull and AlphaTauri's reserve driver. Starting from the Dutch GP, he came really close to the top 10 a few times, but missed out due to the car's performance. Nevertheless, he managed to secure his first points at the Singapore GP, proving he's still got the chops to be a rising F1 star. But here's the twist. Despite his impressive performances with minimal practice in a car he'd only been driving for a handful of races, he hasn't locked in a deal with any F1 team yet. Rumours swirled that he might join Williams, but Horner shut that down, saying he's guaranteed a spot in one of the two Red Bull teams for the 2025 season. If I were Lawson, I'd wait it out a bit longer for a Red Bull ride than slog at the back of the pack with Williams. Alright, let's shift gears to the young Aussie dynamo who gave Alpine a run for their money in 2022, Oscar Piastri. At the start of the year, there was quite the debate about which of the three rookies would shine the brightest. Piastri seemed to be the obvious pick, but after a year out of racing and landing in a new team, it wasn't guaranteed to be smooth sailing. Plus, he wanted to team up with a driver who'd just taken an 8-time race winner to task, and McLaren's car didn't exactly look like a speed demon heading into Bahrain. But guess what? As the season rolls on and we're just in the midst of the summer break, there's an argument that Piastri has been one of the standout performers, right up there with the likes of Max Verstappen and Alonso, two seasoned world champions. So, what's next for Piastri? Well, the obvious is more points. With 57 points under his belt so far, he scored the most points by a rookie driver in their debut year since Kevin Magnussen back in 2014, who coincidentally was with McLaren too, and he racked up 55 points. But here's the real kicker. Piastri has already outshone some of the fastest stars on the grid in their rookie years. Take Max Verstappen for instance, who managed 49 points in 2015, or Charles Leclerc with 39 in 2018. Okay, sure, they had less awesome cars, but it's still pretty remarkable in my book. McLaren's got arguably the second quickest car on the grid, which means Piastri should be racking up more points with ease. And if it weren't for that pesky safety car showing up at the worst time in Silverstone, Piastri might have already had his first F1 podium in just his 10th race. But guess what? Racing gods finally smiled upon this young rookie at the Japanese Grand Prix. He qualified on the front row right behind the reigning world champion, and he went toe-to-toe with his teammate, eventually snatching P3 and that long-awaited podium at Suzuka. Piastri is someone you should keep an eye on the 2024 season. He might just turn the F1 world upside down if McLaren hands him the rocket of a car he deserves. And now, our final rookie, Logan Sargeant, the only American driver on the F1 grid. But boy, he's been having a tough season. Sargeant got a lot of attention when he entered Formula One, being the first American driver since 2015. The USA is becoming a huge market for Formula One, and the excitement was through the roof. But the Florida native isn't off to the best start in his F1 career. He took part in 16 races and hasn't scored a single point yet. And it's not just about the points, he's developed a bit of a habit of trashing those multi-million-dollar cars into barriers for breakfast. Following his 2 crashes at the Japanese Grand Prix, Sargeant's now cost Williams an estimated $3.9 million in crash damage this season. That's over 3 times his supposed salary. It's also more than Lance Stroll, whose $2.13 million damage bill got boosted by that wild crash in Singapore for 2023. Now, Sargeant's crashes are putting Williams' 2024 development plans at risk. James Voles, the team principal, has said they've had more attrition than expected and will have to divert resources to make spare parts. So, while the team's backing Sargeant and hoping he improves, they've given him an ultimatum. Either stay close behind Albon or risk losing the seat to another driver. So, with all this intense pressure, it's going to be quite a show watching Logan perform at the Qatar GP. So, here's the big question for you. Which of these rookies do you think will continue their F1 career? And who do you reckon might get the boot after this season? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, don't forget to show some love by smashing that like button, hitting subscribe, and ringing that bell icon to never miss another one of my uploads. I'll catch you in the next video. My name's Technic. Peace.